Hello, everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for the originals, Season 1, Episode 7, Bloodletting. I'm your host, Dom, and with me I have Michael.
Hello.
Not to be confused with Mikealson.
No.
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 So, based on, last week's episode of the Vampire Diaries, we surmised that Tyler was coming to New Orleans.
Yep.
And right off the bat, we kind of, well, not right off the bat, but 5 minutes into the episode, we found Tyler is in New Orleans, and he is the one that kidnapped Hayley. Did you expect him to be the one that kidnapped Hayley, or did you really think that was Marcel?
I really thought it was Marcel. It
Yeah.
fit, and I think they did that on purpose, the little shits.
They did. They did. So, looking at this from the perspective of someone who may not have watched the Vampire Diaries, do you think they did a good job of introducing Tyler?
Yeah. It was good enough. They introduced him more of a dick than he actually was.
Yeah, I kind of get that
Previously.
impression as well.
If you didn't watch the Vampire Diaries, you would think that he was just a total jackass.
I mean, he was at the very beginning of the Vampire Diaries, so he softened
True.
up a bit, but now it seems like
He's unsoftening.
yeah, he's kind of going back to his former ways. So
He's going back to his roots.
yeah. So I don't know. I think they did a pretty good job of explaining him. They showed enough of flashbacks and whatnot, but they mentioned his connections. They touched on Caroline a little bit. You know, they mentioned some of that stuff. So there's definitely some room for them to work, and I'm waiting to see Caroline cross over for an episode or two or something, so she ends up in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about Marcel helping the Mikealsons find Hayley in the first place? That seemed kind of uncharacteristic for him.
There's some underlying ulterior motive there, because I don't know. It just came. It was very out of character and out of place. Like, where the hell did it come from exactly? I mean, maybe he's just trying to make peace so he doesn't have any more of his vampires or himself wind up dead on the street corner. But maybe this is part of his master plan against Klaus somehow.
Could be. Tyler he reveals that the hybrid baby is a new way for Klaus to breed his hybrids. Dwayne appeared to be sired right off the bat, but who do you think he was sired to? Was it Hayley, Klaus, or the baby itself?
I think it was the baby itself, and being, the baby is still inside of mommy, that means he was protecting mommy to protect the baby.
Yeah, because Hayley seemed to think it was sired to her, but I think it's sired to the child.
It's sired to the child, but maybe temporarily she would have command over him.
Or maybe it's anything that she says that influences the outcome of the baby.
Probably she could influence him.
She did say something along the lines of he wants to harm the baby.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. You see Klaus and Tyler, they go at it. They have a little battle. And ultimately, Klaus ends up keeping Tyler alive. Do you think that was a mistake on Klaus's part?
Yes.
Why?
I never liked Tyler. He should have died. Aside from that, Tyler is, he's a hybrid. It's the only other hybrid walking around that we know of other than Klaus.
And the child.
That's why I said walking around.
Mm-hmm.
So, I Tyler knows a lot about Klaus because he ran with him for not nearly as long as Marcel did, but still he ran with him for a while, and more recently too. I mean, at the end we see him talking to Marcel, and that's exactly why it was a bad idea to leave him alive, because he knows some more up-to-date recent information about you that his enemy does not know, and now he can share this information with Klaus's enemy.
Right.
Klaus should have just killed him and been done with it.
So, regardless of whether or not Klaus had killed Tyler, he already kind of drove a wedge between Hayley and Klaus by giving the information that Klaus wants to use. Like, Klaus didn't have any knowledge that this baby was going to be the creation of the hybrids, but they don't know this. So when Hayley kind of assumed that this was his plan all along, reveals this to Elijah, he's definitely grown some more feelings for Hayley as time has gone. And this whole revelation kind of puts a wedge between not only Hayley and Klaus, but Elijah and Klaus as well. So Klaus here, he turns to Rebecca, and he kind of gives his new plan to Rebecca and says that he wants her help. So in doing that, he kind of seems to be jumping from family member to family member. When he hurts one or one betrays him, he jumps to another one, and he keeps jumping from family member to family member for help. Do you think he's actually dependent on his family, but he won't admit it?
Oh, yeah. He is definitely dependent on his family to further his plans and his goals and stuff. And without at least one of them supporting him, he's pretty much screwed.
Yeah, I mean, he's more than capable of surviving on his own. We've seen this in the past, but it seems like he works better with his family.
Yes, he does.
So, yeah. Unbeknownst to Klaus, Marcel has discovered Josh is actually compelled to work for Klaus and all that. So, Marcel takes Josh to see Davina and tells Davina to completely wipe his memory of any compulsion that he has over Klaus and Davina's and Josh's knowledge of Davina. During this whole process, Davina and Josh kind of make this little connection. But she decides to only wipe Klaus's compulsion and not Josh's knowledge of Davina. So how do you think this is going to play out in the future?
This could be bad because, I mean, she wiped Klaus's compulsion, supposedly. What if she missed a bit? Or what if
I don't
Klaus...
think she missed any of that.
No, she didn't.
I'm saying more of the relation between Josh and Davina. How do you think that dynamic is going to play out?
Not going to make Marcel happy if he finds out about it. But I don't know how that's going to play out. I mean, it could be bad for Davina in the future because now there's another person who knows where she is, and Klaus already got to him once. Why can't he get to him again?
Or Davina could be using this to her advantage to have somebody on the inside to do her bidding.
Oh, that's even true. Now Josh will be doing her bidding instead of Klaus's.
Because she can't exactly get out of the attic. So she could have Josh be her little messenger boy and run around and do the errands for her.
That's possible. It's actually a better idea than I was coming up with.
Yeah.
Huh. I like it.
So Elijah and Hayley, they seem to be a bit of an item. And this has kind of grown apparent to Klaus as well. So why do you think Elijah keeps falling for all the girls that Klaus has been dealt with? At first it was the doppelganger, Catherine? Was it Catherine that he fell for? So, yeah, he fell for Elena's doppelganger, Catherine, from the Vampire Diaries. And then now it seems that he's fallen for Hayley. Why do you think he keeps falling for his brother's girls? And I believe it was even the doppelganger that existed before Catherine.
It's possible that it's either... Because, I mean, Elijah's the big brother. It's possible it's some kind of male dominance thing. Still, coming out after 1,000 years of family. Or it's possible that he sees that, he feels some kind of sympathy for the way that Klaus has mistreated his women. And, I mean, him and Hayley don't exactly have the greatest relationship in the world. Basically, she had a one-night stand and got knocked up from it. And Klaus didn't seem to care one way or the other. So, I mean, Elijah kind of, I think, pities that and realizes that, you know, my brother basically used them and then cast them aside. I should treat them better. And then he winds up falling for them.
Maybe it has a lot to do with the fact that Elijah's very open to his humanity still, and he keeps a lot of that, so...
That is true.
Yeah. Marcel revealed kind of his plans to Rebecca, that he intended for them to have a house together and all this stuff. What side do you think Rebecca's going to choose? The side she's always wanted, to have love and to care for someone? Or do you think she's going to choose her family?
She's going to be tempted by the dark side of love. I'm going to go... she's going to be tempted. Sorely tempted. Then she's going to side with Marcel, and then he's going to screw her over, and then she's going to be back with her family.
That's it, actually exactly what I was thinking. I think she's going to end up siding with Marcel until something happens, and just like always, her family's got her back, and she'll run back to them, and yeah.
See, she's, unlike Klaus, she's pretty predictable.
Yeah,
so
she's extremely predictable.
So I mean, that's just all. That's we both came up with it. We didn't discuss this before the show at all. So I mean, yeah, that's the only way I can see it playing out. Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe they'll be like, "All right, Rebecca's such a predictable character. That's what everybody's going to think that she's going to do. So we're going to do the other thing." But I have no idea what the other thing could be.
I don't know. I think it's going to be the way that we thought.
It likely.
Hayley, it's her revealed that her birthmark on her shoulder is revealed to be some sort of royalty within the vampire community.
Werewolf.
Werewolf. And then we find she finds a Bible, and it's revealed her real name is not Hayley, and it's actually Andrea Lebonea. And she was born June 6th of 1991. That makes
Which
her,
would make her a lot
22.
younger than me.
Yeah, that makes her 22. So, that's interesting. How do you think that's going to play out, that now she finds out she's royalty?
No idea. I mean, vampire...
Werewolf. I did it to you.
Werewolf royalty. I don't know how that's going to play out, considering that, you know, the line of werewolves she belongs to seems to be gone. Down in that little shack in the bayou where Tyler was holding her, there's really nobody there.
Yeah, there was only two. It was Dwayne and some other girl, and Dwayne is now dead.
And the other girl ran off into the woods.
Yeah. I don't know. At the very end of the episode, though, Tyler goes to Marcel and kind of reveals the whole hybrid baby and Klaus's intentions. So what do you think Marcel's going to do with this information?
He'll probably be tempted to the fact that, ooh, powerful hybrids I can control? Well, he would think. He'd be like, oh, powerful hybrids that, you know, I could use against Klaus. I think I'm going to go for this. And he's going to probably try to take Hayley. And use the blood to make hybrids. But the problem is they'll be sired to the baby or by Hayley through extension of the baby. So, right. I mean, Marcel's not going to have any control over them.
Unless he does. He does have Davina ace in the hole. He could find some way to sire them to him.
That's possible, too. I don't know. Well, Marcel's definitely going to be tempted because that's a lot of power for him. He wouldn't have to worry if Klaus gets his hands on all of those hybrids. Like I said, you know, they clean up New Orleans within a week.
They would. They would, in fact. One other thing that Elijah had mentioned in this episode, he kind of mocked the phrase that Klaus had muttered to him, "Every king needs an heir." Now, this was actually a line of dialogue that did not exist in the original series itself. It was only mentioned in the backdoor pilot through the Vampire Diaries episode of this. So does that mean that this alternate dialogue here that was used between all different versions of the show are considered canon?
Probably. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, that was only used. There was no alternate dialogue of that really. It's just a
There
one.
was a changed phrase. They kind of went off on a different tangent. They re-recorded an ending to that dialogue that was used, and they overdubbed it with some other scenes when they shortened it up. So he didn't use that exact phrase. He didn't say anything about every king needs an heir in the originals episode. I don't remember if it was in the director's cut or not. I don't believe it was. But it was definitely in the backdoor pilot. So the fact that they referenced that, I found quite interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's a pretty strong one-liner from Klaus that kind of gives you insight into what his whole thought process is. He sees himself as a king, whether he is or not. But yeah, I don't know. Well, are all the alternate dialogue versions considered canon? They're probably going to pick and choose. Like, all right, this will be used better here, but we're going to use this one from the backdoor pilot. We're going to use this one from the actual pilot. And we're going to use this one from the backdoor pilot, and then that's it. And now everything else is just from the originals.
Yeah, it almost seemed to me as if it was a line that they didn't realize that they were cutting out of the episode until it was too late, so to speak. But the actual alternate dialogues never necessarily conflicted with each other. So I do just take it as alternate dialogue that you may have seen one perspective and then it was just kind of left out and not necessarily that it wasn't said.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Next week we have The River in Reverse is the title for the next episode. And it says, the first battle of the war. Rebecca faces a difficult decision and turns to Father Kieran for guidance. So, right off the bat, this is probably going to be what we were just discussing, whether or not she's going to choose family or love. So it's either Klaus or Marcel, so that's why she's going to turn to Father Kieran for guidance. What advice do you think Father Kieran is going to give her?
Who knows? He's a very oddball of a priest in my mind, so he could give her either way.
He's not really a fan of vampires in general. So
No, and both situations have, it's like you choose family, that's a vampire. You choose love, that's a vampire. So, I mean, I don't know what he's going to say.
But who does he hate more, Marcel or Klaus? Klaus kind of helped him in a way, so...
He probably is going to say choose family.
So you think he's going to go with Klaus. Okay. I do not disagree with that statement. Elijah struggles with the consequences of a recent fallout with Klaus, which we kind of knew was going to happen.
Yeah.
Hayley remains by his side, but is soon drawn away by a mysterious figure who sheds some light on her past. So this will probably be someone with the royal werewolf family.
You are Princess Fluffy Ears of the New Orleans Werewolves.
Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, a frustrated Camille struggles to make sense of a cryptic message that she's come across. Who do you think is giving her this cryptic message?
I have no idea. Someone to screw with her. But a cryptic I don't know, because, I mean, her brother was hexed by a witch. So it wasn't, I mean, that's already settled there. But I have no idea what the cryptic message could be or who's giving it to her. So I gotta, it's on today's month. It's on tomorrow night, so I have to wait and see.
Yep, I'm gonna have to wait. Finally, when an unsuspecting Marcel uncovers some upsetting information involving Klaus, a confrontation ends in a surprising twist. So this is obviously the hybrid baby, but the surprising twist. It's twist for a reason, so it's probably not something we're gonna see coming.
Yeah, they say a surprising twist. I mean, usually that's either something really, truly is a surprising twist, or it's something that's completely predictable. I mean, I'm thinking very linearly here. They're having a fight, so the surprising twist is either going to be that Marcel has an edge over Klaus, and Klaus doesn't really want to kill him, or
Well, we've kind of already just we learned in this episode that Marcel doesn't intend on killing Klaus, because if Klaus dies, so does Marcel. The vampire bloodline is linked. So he does intend on imprisoning him in the garden, which is the foundation to his dream house with Rebecca.
Or the other end is that the surprising twist is, hey, guess what? This whole evolving plot we got with Marcel being the bad guy, nope, Klaus kills him. Done.
Yep.
But that's me thinking very one-dimensional, very linear. I mean, it's a surprising twist for a reason. It's probably something completely out of nowhere. Like, Rebecca comes in and defends Marcel.
Ooh.
Or Elijah comes in, knocks, Klaus to the side, and then kills Marcel and is like, enough of this bickering, I'm done, and walks away.
I don't see Marcel dying anytime soon.
I don't see him dying anytime soon either. I'm just... Maybe even Elijah and Rebecca siding with Marcel together.
Ooh. Really leaving Klaus alone to fend for himself. Could be. I don't know. We will find out.
I need a soundboard that says, "What a twist!" in M. Night Shyamalan's face to just pass across one of our screens. Yep, I did. I went there. So, I have no final thoughts, so I'm just going to plug my Twitter. Because I broke you. Okay, so you can find me on Twitter at Thilladren, THILLADREN. You can also find him on Twitter.
Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM. And you can find us all on As Seen on TV podcast, YouTube and Facebook.com/ASOTV podcast. Till next week. See you guys later.
Farewell. At least that cough drop lasted for 2 recordings. Yeah!
That it did.